Hello, my friends, and welcome to this section. We're gonna talk about Android Studio Anatomy. So we will start by deep diving into Android Studio UI. Then we will talk about the layout editor. We'll discover the layout editor in Android Studio. Then we will move to the code editor and discovering the code editor in Android Studio and its attributes. And then we'll move to the project structure so we can discover the folders hierarchy in Android Studio. Well, these are the topics that we'll cover. Hello, my friends. In this tutorial, I'm gonna show you the different parts and sections of Android Studio so you'll get familiar with this IDE. The first section is the main menu. Inside the main menu, you can make and do several actions like creating new project, saving the project, opening an existing project, managing the IDE settings, edit the toolbars and other sections, inspect, analyze the code, build project, clean project, and generating signed APKs. Run the project, debug the project, and profile the project. Managing SDK, the device, and the resources. Integrating version control. So we will see the VCS later on in a separate section. And many other actions. These are the main actions that we are gonna use later on with our projects. These are the main actions, but you can do many other actions. You can access them by clicking on the file, new, open the project, the new project, settings, project settings, and so you can see the file properties, the project structure, settings, and bunch of other actions you can do. So I will click on settings. You can access this menu, and you can see the editor, plugins, version control, build, execution, and bunch of other actions you can do. Okay, so these are inside inside the project structure. We can also see the edit tab. So here we can cut, copy, paste, delete, find, toggle case, join line, duplicates, and other actions. If we go to the view, tools, windows, see these are the tool windows. You can see them on the sides: Gradle, Device Manager, Device File Explorer, and Emulator, and other things. Okay, so you can manage these toolbars as I told you. Okay, the appearance, you can check for the toolbar, the status bar, toolbar, tool window bars, navigation bar that we will see in the next couple of minutes. Show siblings, recent files, type info, and other actions. If we go to navigate, we can navigate to other sections or highlighted errors or lines or symbols or the bookmarks. The code, we can check for the overriding methods. You can implement them, implement the methods of interface or inheritance or other things that we are going to see later on, and bunch of other actions. Refactoring, build the project. This is the menu that we are going to use. Make the project, analyze APK, generate signed APK or signed bundle, and clean the project. Run. We are going to run the project from here. Debug, profile, and others. The tools, you can see the SDK manager here, the device manager here, the Kotlin Groovy console, XML action, task and context, integrating Firebase. You can see we can integrate Firebase, the online database, the app links assistant, and other resource managers, and other bunch of useful things. The VCS enable version control integration and other integration on GitHub and other resources. Later on, we have a new section about it and a standalone section, the window and the help. Okay, these are the main actions inside Android Studio you can do. Let's move to another section. The navigation bar helps you navigate through your project and open files for editing. It provides a more compact view of the structure visible in the project window. The toolbar lets you carry out a wide range of actions, including running your app and launching Android tools. It contains shortcuts for the main menu actions. Think about it as the most useful shortcuts from the main menu. The tool window bar runs around the outside of the IDE window and contains the buttons that allow you to expand or collapse individual tool windows. So you can start from here, from the project, you can click on it, you can hide or open the project menu, the resource manager, the structure, the favorites, build variants, version control, to-do, problems, terminal, Logcat. We are going to work with Logcat in the next videos and other projects. And profile, we will see the profile of your app, how it behaves, app inspection, emulator, device file explorer, device manager, Gradle. The status bar displays the states of your project and the IDE itself, as well as any warnings or messages. Searching for specific action. At any time, you can search across your source code, databases, actions, elements of the user interface, and so on by double pressing the Shift key or clicking the magnifying glass in the upper right hand corner of Android Studio window. This can be very useful if, for example, you are trying to locate a particular IDE action that you have forgotten how to trigger. So in this video, we have a very good example and very good tour and overview about the tabs and the different sections of Android Studio. Now we are going in the next videos to dive into each section and each particular section, and we will see more and more details in the next videos. The Android Studio editor appears in the center of the main window when the Java, Kotlin, XML, or other text-based file is selected for editing. The elements that comprise the editor window can be summarized as follows. The Document tab. Android Studio is capable of holding multiple files open for editing at any one time. As each file is opened, it is assigned a Document tab displaying the file name in the tab bar located along the top edge of the editor window. Switching between files is simply a matter of clicking on the corresponding tab or using the Alt left or Alt right keyboard shortcuts. So you can switch between the tabs the document tabs simply. The editor gutter area. The gutter area is used by the editor to display informational icons and controls. Some typical items, among others, which appear in the gutter area are debugging breakpoint markers, controls to fold and unfold blocks of code, bookmarks, change markers, and line numbers. Code structure location. This bar is used to display the current position of the cursor as it relates to the overall structure of the code. For example, if I click here, then the main menu will display the main activity here is the last thing will be displayed here in this navigation hierarchy. If I click on this method, on create method, you see now our cursor is on create method, which is a part of the main activity. So our cursor now is on create method, that it is inside the main activity class, that it's inside the hello world folder, inside master coding folder, inside com folder, inside Java, inside main, src, app, and hello world folders. This is the hierarchy. So if I click back here, then the onCreate method will disappear from here and display for us that our cursor is inside the main activity. The editor area. This is the main area where the code is displayed, entered, and edited by the user. The validation and marker sidebar. Android Studio incorporates a feature referred to as on-the-fly code analysis. What this essentially means is that as you are typing the code, the editor is analyzing the code to check for warnings and syntax error. The indicators at the top of the validation sidebar will update in real time to indicate the number of errors and warnings found as code is added. Clicking on this indicator will display a pop-up containing a summary of the issues found with the code in the editor. Splitting the editor window. By default, the editor will display a single panel showing the content of the currently selected file. A particularly useful feature when working simultaneously with multiple source code files is the ability to split the editor into multiple panes. To split the editor, right-click on the File tab within the editor and select either the split vertically or split horizontally menu option. Split down, right. I will split right. Okay, you see how I split it. Also, you can drag and put like this. You can see how I split the code. Here is the design. If I'm working on the design, also I'm working on the main activity here. I can drag and drop. You can edit the view of the code editor as needed. One of the most important things that Android Studio will offer, and this is a very important feature, is the code completion. The Android Studio editor has a considerable amount of built-in knowledge of Java programming, syntax, and the classes and methods that make up the Android SDK, also as well as Kotlin. So, as code is typed, the editor scans what is being typed and where appropriate makes the suggestions with regard to what might be needed to complete a statement or reference. For example, if I type here string, so it will suggest for me a string. Okay? If I type an int, these are the basic variables in Java. You can put alt, control and space in order to get this menu. Okay. Other options, if I'm typing button, so it will appear here. So if you miss this menu, as I told you, control and space in order to display this menu. Control plus space. Okay. Again, if I'm typing anything like this, it will appear for us this menu, and we select or we press enter. Okay, I will repeat it. Text, I press enter, so it will insert the text view and complete it. If none of the auto-completion suggestions are correct, simply keep typing and the editor will continue to refine the suggestions where appropriate. Other features for Android Studio is the code generation. In addition to completing code as it is typed, the editor can, under certain conditions, also generate the code for you. The list of available code generation options can be accessed using the Alt insert in Windows or Command and N on Mac OS. Keyboard shortcut when the cursor is at the location in the file where the code is to be generated. For example, if I need to generate the code, I will generate it here, Alt plus insert, and you can select a bunch of code generators for you. Later on, we will see the constructor to string, overriding methods, implementing methods, getters, setters, and bunch of other generated code generator features inside and options inside Android Studio Editor. So for testing, I will use the override methods. I will select here on stop method. I will select it, and here the code will be generated directly for you. Okay, despite you will go and type protected void on stop super dot on stop, it will generate it for you. Okay, so this is for the code generation. I will put here code completion. This is used by control and space, and code generation is done by window plus insert. Other feature in Android Studio Editor is code folding. Once a source code file reaches a certain size, even the most carefully formatted and well-organized code can become overwhelming and difficult to navigate. Android Studio takes the view that it is not always necessary to have the content of every code block visible at all the time. So, if I need to fold this code, I will click on this, and the onCreate method will be folded. If I need to unfold, I will click on this plus sign. So here it will tell us, it tells us that this method is from here to here and can be folded like this way. So you see, guys, this is this method is from here to here. So this curly braces indicates the beginning of the method, and this curly braces indicate the end of the method. So if I need to fold this method, I need to click on this minus sign. If I need to unfold the method, I will click on plus sign. Hello, my friends. In this video, I'm going to talk about the layout editor in Android Studio. When you create a new project, Android Studio will create by default two files, main activity.java or .kt if you are working with Kotlin, and activity underscore main.xml. If we click on this document, activity underscore main, we will find this layout editor. So this is the layout editor. With Android Studio layout editor, we can build layouts by dragging components onto the screen instead of writing the layout XML by hand. Don't worry, you can still switch view and edit XML with text editor. Layout editor is one of the companions in Android Studio that will follow us through the whole journey of app design. For a beginner, this is one of the places where to start building apps. In Layout Editor, you can design screens and add components that you will use later in the code. So we have to get used to it to start building our apps. With Android Studio Layout Editor, you can add components to the layout using drag and drop, add and change all attributes, properties for components, view and edit constraints for layouts, prepare a responsive design with preview, edit XML code for layout. Let's start diving into the layout editor components and sections. We will first start with the palette, which provides a list of components and layouts that you can drag into your layout in the editor. Here you find buttons, text views, spinners, image views, recycler view, image view, scroll view, layouts, widgets, and other containers, and etc. And we will go through these components later through this course. The component tree shows the view hierarchy for your layout. Click any item or click an item here to see it selected in the editor. The component tree is important when you have some nested components. The toolbar provides buttons to configure your layout design in the editor and helps you change some layout attributes. In addition, here you can change the size of the display to check if the constraints work as expected. Here you can find alignments and connection tools. The design and code editors. You can create layouts using the design editor or the code editor XML or the split mode, both of them. The design editor displays your layout in a combination of the design and blueprint views. As we see, we have this white screen to the left, and the right screen is the blueprint view. The code editor. In the text editor, you can define the visual aspects of components with the XML code. Let's see how it looks. Select the code, and here we have our code editor. When using a text editor for your XML, you can also see a preview of the screen in real time as you write the code. You can check the layout validation. So if I remove this text view, now our layout will not contain the text the layout will not contain the layout or the text view anymore. Okay, you see how we update this view. Also, you can use both of these modes and editors, the code and design, if we select the split mode. So I can make here like this. I can open the palette. I can drag and drop some buttons and still write the XML code to them. Hello, my friends. You see how I'm editing the layout, the widgets, and using the palette. So I have the two modes of layout editors, the design here and the code here, using the split mode. Attributes. This small tab to the right contains the properties of the components in your layout. Most of the time, attributes will describe visual aspects of components, but sometimes they are used to set layout behavior as well and set parameters for tools. If I click on the attributes, then the attributes window will be appearing to me, and now I can see the attributes. So the attributes window is a list of properties you can set for your component. Typical properties are text, hint, ID, background, color, and others. All the aspects of components can be set with the attributes found here. So we have many attributes, many sections. I can fold and unfold these inside the attributes panel. I can see all attributes here. When you start using the layout editor, that all attributes section will be hidden in a separate section. All attributes is great. Furthermore, you can use it to search for attributes that you want to set but are not a part of commonly used attributes. Also, for searching, this is the all attributes. I'm talking about all attributes. For searching, this is the best way to have your view switched to all attributes. Okay, so always select all attributes if you are going to edit, and if you are going to add more and more attributes, if you have many attributes for your widget. So you can see how many attributes we have here. So if I select on I select and click on the text view, I can scroll up here to all attributes of this text view. You see, guys, I'm selecting a text view, and here all the attributes will display for me the characteristics that I can change for this text view. So I can change the background of this text view. I will click OK, and you see, guys, I have changed the text view background color. If I want to increase the size of it, I can scroll down all the way to see, for example, the size, text size here. I can select like for 34. You see how I increased the size of this text view. Also, there are many attributes. If I click on it, many attributes to edit here inside the all attributes. So when using all attributes, here is it will display for you all the attributes, all the characteristics available to edit for this widget. We have another one is called declared attributes. So the declared attributes is a section which lists attributes specified in the layout file. When you add a value to a new attribute for a component on the layout, this attribute will become a part of this list. In addition, this means that it will be quicker to find all the used attributes. So you can design most parts of the user interface in Android Studio Layout Editor. And this video gives an explanation on quite a few pieces of Layout Editor and how to use it. Later on, in the next videos, we are going to deep dive into these components, and we will see these widgets and their attributes in each in a separate video. And in the complex project, we will use many widgets. So this is about the layout editor. I hope you benefit from this video. And now let's jump into the next. Hello, my friends, and welcome back. In this video, I'm going to talk about the project structure. By default, Android Studio displays your project files in the Android view. This view does not reflect the actual file hierarchy on disk, but is organized by modules and file types to simplify navigation between key source files of your project, hiding certain files or directories that are not commonly used. So if I go to here to the project, I click on it, I open, I can press Alt+1 to open the project, or tab, or I can press on it. Okay, I can select different modes, different ways to display the project hierarchy. By default, Android is selected. Sometimes you need to see the project in a project view, Android view, problems, or the production, packages, the project files, the project source files. You can see how they are nested, scratches and console, and others. But we will use Android as top one used mode, and then we are going to see the project when using the Firebase database section. Okay, so we have many parts inside this project structure. We will start with the manifest. Manifest, every app project must have an Android manifest.xml file, which precisely that name, at the root of the project source set. The manifest file describes essential information about your app to the Android build tools, the Android operating system, and Google Play. Later on, when we publish our app and upload it to Google Play, we will see the importance of the Android manifest.xml file that gives a brief description about the permissions that the app needs in order to access protected parts or of the system or other apps. Also contain the components of the app, describe the components of the app, which includes all activities, services, broadcast receivers, and content providers. This manifest file also gives the hardware and software features the app requires, which affects which devices can install the app from Google Play. This is a very important file that we're gonna talk about it in a separate video, and we will see this important file later on. When we add the permissions, when we add new activities, when we add the services and broadcast receivers, and bunch more things. So Later on, we will cover it. The Java folder contains the Java source code files separated by package names, including JUnit test code. So you can see the project hierarchy where you can store the classes, the activities in a hierarchical way in packages, folders, and classes or activities. The res folder, the resources. The res or values folder is used to store the values for the resources that are used in many Android projects to include features of color, styles, dimensions, and etc. If I click on resources, I can see it has subdirectories here. I think they are 5. Drawable, layout, map, values, and XML. So let's dive into these folders. The first one is the drawable. So drawable folder contains the different types of images used for the development of the application. We need to add all the images to the drawable folder for the application development. The layout folder. Normally, we store every XML layout file inside the res-layout folder, inside the layout folder of the resources folder. The mip-map folder. The mip-map folders are for placing your app launcher icons, which are shown on the home screen in only. So this folder is used for the icon, for displaying and creating the icon for your app. Any other drawable assets you use should be placed in the relevant drawable folders as before. So there are two different concepts you should know. Mip-map folder is for displaying the and placing your app launcher icons, the icons for your app, for the launcher icon for your app, and the drawable folder should contains all the other assets. Okay, all images except the icon of the of your app. So the icon of the app should be stored inside the mip-map folder, and all the other assets from videos, video images and other assets should be stored inside the drawable. And by the way, if you have videos, you can create a new assets folder. Later on, we will see it in a video tutorial about how to display the videos from the local storage. And we will create a new folder called assets inside the resources and place our videos inside it in order to display and play it with the video player. If we move down, we will see the values folder that contains the colors.xml, strings.xml, and themes. Okay, so let's start with the colors.xml. Colors.xml is an XML file which is used to store the colors for the resources. An Android project contains 3 essential colors, namely color primary dark, and color accent. If we continue down to the strings.xml, we find this amazing and very important file, because it's one of the most important as well as widely used values file is the string.xml due to its applicability in the Android project. Basic function of this XML, strings.xml file, is to define the strings in one file so that it's easy to use same string in different positions in Android project. Plus, it makes the project looks less messy. Later on, we will see this strings.xml folder and file, and we will see how we can make a translation and localization of your app in different languages using this amazing file. Themes folder. Styles and themes on Android allows you to separate the details of your app design from the UI structure and behavior, similar to style sheets in web design. A style is a collection of attributes that specify the appearance of a single view. A style can specify attributes such as font color, font size, background color, and much more. A theme is a collection of attributes that's applied to an entire app, activity, or view hierarchy, not just an individual view. When you apply a theme, every view in the app or activity applies each of the theme's attributes that it supports. Themes can also apply styles to non-view elements, such as the status bar and window background. Moving down to the XML folder, we have two files. The backup rules.xml. By default, the system backs up almost all app data. If your app targets Android 12 API level 31 or higher, you must specify an additional set of XML backup rules to support the changes to backup restore that were introduced for devices running Android 12 or higher. The data extraction rules.xml. Even if your app targets Android 12 or higher, you must also specify another set of XML backup rules to support devices that run Android 11 API level 30 or lower. And the last folder is the Gradle. The Android build system compiles app resources and source code and packages them into APKs or Android app bundles that you can test, deploy, sign, and distribute. Android Studio uses Gradle, an advanced build toolkit, to automate and manage the build process while allowing you to define flexible custom build configurations. Each build configuration can define its own set of code and resources while reusing the parts common to all versions of your app. The Android build plugin for Gradle works with the build toolkit to provide processes and configurable settings that are specific to building and testing Android applications. Don't worry, we are going to use this Gradle folder in every custom or complex applications that uses the third-party libraries and other dependencies. So we're gonna dive into this folder later on,